Well, today is April the 26th, 2019. Every day I have a routine and a ritual that's typically in the morning, and I spend a lot of time on it. And basically, it's a combination of things I've learned basically in the past couple of years, mostly. Um, Garrett J. White, the Wake Up Warrior dude, that Joey um, introduced me to and got me into the challenges and so on, a couple of them. It was very eye opening. It was very positive for me. Um, they had some routines which I tried to adhere to, and I actually did for a while. And I got up at fucking 5:15 every morning, and and did all the different things. So she had a whole list of things. I think there was like four categories and basically four things in each category. So that was like 16 things to do every morning, over and above just getting up, which was difficult enough. Um, I've been listening to a lot of things. The YouTube is my new best friend, and it's something that Joey's been referring me to for eons. Whenever I have a question, look it up on YouTube. Go to Google. So now I'm in a habit of finding all kinds of information out on YouTube. I so far I can't really complain about too much disinformation, but on how tos it works out pretty well. I noticed that I guess my questions on how to do something may not be covered, so there's opportunities, I guess. Um, I also just went to, thanks to Joey once again, also went to a UPW event, and that is Tony Robbins, and that was just about a month ago. And that guy is something else. He also had some suggestions, for morning routines, and I implement that. And then as well as, I do watch again some videos from other self-help gurus that have their recommendations. So I try to incorporate a lot of things in the morning. And one of the things that I've been actually doing every day since the Garrett White days, which is like a year ago, um, is I've been basically meditating, learning to meditate, at least my version of meditation, every day. And mostly it's Bill Singleton, who's basically the leader of my prayer group. He called it a walking meditation, and so I had never heard of that before, but evidently, um, there was a dude, I don't know, that, and I still once in a while get his emails, Elisha something here in LA, and he talks about mindfulness. And so this walking meditation, basically, in a way, for me anyway, is mindfulness. And I pray and I focus on the littlest natural things, whether it be a flower, a butterfly, a bee, an ant, a blade of grass, a weed growing through the cracks, and so on. And it's definitely a meditation. At night, I look at the stars, and I also look at the beauty of the trees and the leaves and things like that I can see in the dark or in the moonlight. But in any case, I don't know that any of this stuff, anything that I do, any of my routines have helped me out. My latest routine, or I give some things up and I try new things and all that, but like in the last couple of weeks anyway, I've really been paying more attention to this earthing thing, trying to get more energy in the morning. I have very difficult time getting up in the morning. So what I've been doing is trying to make myself, not force myself to get up, but encourage myself to get up by, well, what am I going to do that's kind of fun? And so now I make because the weather's so good here, I make myself get up and go outside. And it's not normally I get ready, take a shower and all that, and go for my walk and do my walking meditation. But right now, I just go in my backyard before I even take my shower, and with my bare feet, I touch the ground. I walk over to this elm tree that I'm kind of under right now. Just, this elm tree is like my buddy, and there's another one over there. So and I put my foot down on the root that's going into the ground, and I put my hand up on it, and I have the other foot just on the dirt, and then I'll try to turn towards the sun, and with my eyes closed, let the light come in, and fill my body with various energies coming from the sun and the tree and the earth, as well as I always do my prayers of thankfulness and gratitude to in my Christian religion. I'm not just praying to nobody. Um, and I've been learning more about prayer too. So all the various intuitive healing energies, and combined with the earthing and the any other type of energy that could be used, the prayer energy, um, mental energy, your aura, all that good shit. But nothing really seems to help, except I'm 60 years old, and even though I don't feel good, I have various aches and pains, mostly when I like stress, my joints or whatever, stress and strain. And though I'm extremely weak and tired, for some reason, when those few times I do go to the doctor and I do get blood tests and get checked out, I'm fine. It's the weirdest thing. So, for all I know, it's the apple cider vinegar. Every day I OD, at least in the mornings. It's part of my routine. Also, is apple cider vinegar. So, and then I take some at night. So that could be, why my kidneys aren't getting stones these days. It could be why my blood seems to be okay. Um, I can't seem to lose any weight, but then I don't gain any weight. So I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know. The reason, another reason for this video is every day when I do an audio, because that's a lot easier, it's just a journal for me. It's an audio or a video. I'm trying to get myself to do more videos. I've done a few already, but um, they're a little harder. You got to put some effort into it. And God forbid I should burn some calories putting effort into something. And, well, sometimes it's just easier. Like with the audios, I'm basically talking to myself as if I'm talking to my dog, Buddy, or somebody walking beside me. I wish there was. But maybe I'm talking to God. But the thing is, just knowing that I'm talking into like a microphone, it's of great help. It's like what people do a lot of time journaling, writing something down in some kind of a book. But the thing is, journaling is getting to be kind of passe. Everybody uses electronic devices now, and you got to use all these little fingers and stuff. It almost takes the fun out of it. Writing something um, seems to be more expressive, and seems to be more therapeutic. And then going back and reading it someday, for me, maybe never, or somebody else reading it, which I doubt will be anybody. But the thought that it's a possibility that you're sharing your innermost thoughts. And same with the audios. It basically is journaling without writing, and it's out loud. So it's almost like talking to a person. And then with the video, okay, I'm looking at myself right now, and I know the camera's right down there, but I'm looking at myself rather than the camera lens. and I turn, it's like I'm talking to somebody. Man, you look pretty damn handsome. If I was gay, yeah, you'd be hot. But the thing is, um, it's therapeutic, and a lot of times I feel I can't be wasting my time on this. I need to spend time doing things like making money. I need to spend time doing things. I feel guilty that I'm not helping my son more, and I just don't know what to do. So it's kind of like maybe at the end of the day, I say, why did I waste all my time doing that? I had to get prepared to do it. What the fuck am I going to talk about? You know. So anyway, I'm just gonna ad lib this. Maybe it'll be a YouTube video someday. That's a thought that's been crossing my mind um, over the last few years, but more so recently. I keep trying to think of ways. There's got to be a way to do something online like YouTube, put videos out like this, and I'm noticing more and more because I use YouTube every day now. That I mean, I hate to admit that I don't turn on my radio AM KFI 640 in the morning. I hate to admit I don't do that anymore. I hate to admit that I've actually taken my big boom box, the one that's water resistant from Sony, that is probably 20, 30 years old. You can't even buy anymore. Um, I buy a lot of audiobooks on CD. I'm still that old fashioned. And well, I took the boom box out of the bathroom and said, "Well, I'm going to clean it off." God forbid, I should burn more calorie cleaning the damn thing off. So I never did bring it back in. So what I'm doing now with my new discovery of Bluetooth, I got a Bluetooth speaker that's water resistant, and I've actually had it for a while. And I put that in my bathroom, and I can use my phone or my computer to transmit whatever I want. But in this case, it's the YouTube videos from my computer. It's all good. I mean, I'm glad that that technology is there, but there's always something in the back of my mind, call me old fashioned, but like somebody's going to flick a switch one of these days and all that is going to be gone. So, my ultimate goal is to have a nice solar system, even if it's a baby solar system that can power a DVD player and can power, a radio and CDs and things like that. So I can at least manually um, have something to, I don't know, listen to, watch, entertain myself. But yeah, well, that's another story for another day. Um, Couple of things I want to, like I just alluded to, find a way to utilize YouTube or others, and like I said, every day I get a little more motivated because I watch all these narcissists and narcissistic videos by these psychologists and counselors and strangely enough, all the female counselors for the most part are good, damn good looking. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But of course, I'm just an old man that fantasizes about younger days that I'll never ever get to see again. But so it's a waste of time to even think about it. But I can't help it. I still got a couple of testosterone cells running around aimlessly. They're really free radicals. So even this video that I'm doing right now, who knows? This could be one of the first YouTube videos. Joey likes to do live things. I'm scared to do that, but maybe if I practice this way, that fear will go away. Fear is a problem that I've had throughout my life, and I have a feeling many of you have had in your life. Um, but I'm also one of those people that seems to have an inordinate amount of courage, if that's the right word. Um, I will utilize some intelligence, of course, and I will decide whether to fight or flight. And a lot of times I'll stand up for myself, and I have a history of standing up for others. And well, to date, that hasn't really got me very far. I don't have too many people come to me and say, "Hey, thanks for sticking up for me." I mean, I did get together with Dan Burke a few years ago, somebody I haven't seen since, sixth grade or seventh grade or whatever, but St. Cecilia's. But when I saw him and we hooked up for lunch one day or something, he was just, you know, 50 years later, he's basically saying thank you for sticking up for me, for getting in fights with me, protecting me. So that worked. That's one. But I guess but we don't stay in touch. It's weird how people come and go out of your life. That's a topic too for another video. But I tried to start this peer-to-peer listening thing, and to listen to people, and I haven't made any money off that, even though that wasn't necessarily my intention. But the problem is I need to make some money, and it's everybody has their 2 cents. You need to make money. You need to charge money. You need to do this. You need to do that. Schedule things out. That's really a stupid idea anyway. And I don't think it's a stupid idea. That's again why I'm doing this video, is because I need somebody to talk to. And I'm 60 years old and I've never had anybody to talk to. Sure, there's been some brief moments, but those people really were just doing me a huge favor. It wasn't something that they were really into, and they probably fell asleep, because I can remember a couple of people falling asleep. No, I'm pretty quiet. I keep things in. I'm embarrassed to let things out. Even when I had my divorce support group, men's group, women's group, the whole 9 yards, I can still remember sitting down with my buddies. They all were pouring their hearts out, and then lunch was over, week after week after week, and I never, ever, ever got to share. And if I did, it was like a sentence just to say, "Yeah, I can relate. That happened to me." And there were, I guess I just wasn't assertive enough. I don't know. But I was the one, the go to guy that everybody came to and vented, and I was the listener. So, if you give me the opportunity or encouragement to say something, then I can say something like I am now. I was talking to Al. Al is my stepdad. He's like, I don't know, 93, I think. And I don't know, like a year ago, I said, Al, actually, it's been a lot of attempts over the years from my end. Al, we should go and have lunch sometime. So I remember, let's just say it was about a year ago, I mentioned it. And yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Then all of a sudden, John was involved. Okay, it's okay. We can make it a boys' lunch out. And then all of a sudden, Hank was there, and which is fine too. But the thing is, I wanted to have this personal one-on-one time that I've never really gotten with Al. Because God forbid I should sit down with Al at his own house and have a chat. That's a whole nother. But anyway, I long story short, or I've made several attempts over a long period of time to get together, and it's always other people somehow get invited. I don't think it's Al getting on the phone and saying, "Hey, why don't you come?" I think there's a third party involved. But then again, that's another story. And but the other day it came up again, and I talking to Al, and we decided on a time. And, well, actually, even a couple of weeks ago, I decided on a time and a day and the whole 9 yards. And then um, John got involved, of course, and then It got canceled at the very last second. Now, Al and I went to the calendar that he has in his kitchen, and everything was cool. So, there's what else? Yeah, I digress. Something else going on behind the scenes. But I'm not one to give up. So I tried again this last week, and we go to the same place, same time. Sure enough, this time Hank's going to get involved. So it's John and Hank, and Al's like an hour late because there was a misunderstanding with his driver. So everything always stems back to this third party in all these little stories I'm telling you about. Al and I trying to get together. So there's people that are listeners, and there's people that just want to talk and be listened to. And a lot of times, listeners would like to talk, believe it or not, and there's just nobody that wants to listen because they're too busy fucking yapping. It's all about them, sort of like a narcissistic tendency, if you will. And that's becoming one of my favorite topics lately is narcissism, as you'll find out. And Hank, I'm not trying to pick on the Hankster, but hopefully nobody here knows Hank. Hank displays many narcissistic characteristics, not as bad as the other third party that I've been referring to, that I know of. But I told Al, I said, Al, come on, man. I'm trying to set up a lunch so you and I could talk. And really, what it comes down to, Al, is that every single time, it could be a family occasion, Thanksgiving, Christmas, any occasion for that matter, or one of these little guys' lunches, it doesn't matter. You never, ever, ever get an opportunity to express yourself. And many times, it's something that I notice, so I'll try to encourage you by asking the question. And I notice that if you don't get shut down, you actually have a lot to say. Like me. If you don't get shut down, there's actually something of value that could be shared. We're just waiting to come out. But he doesn't get that chance, and I don't get that chance. And I tried to let him know that, one reason I don't want everybody to come to these lunches is so we have this quality time. And I shouldn't have said it, but the Hankster, he's a yapper. And he even admits he's got the stories. So, much like that other third party, he co-ops the whole 2 hour lunch, basically, about 90% of it. I know he doesn't mean to, there's no harm intended, but for some reason he feels got to be the center. Um, I guess I'll never be using this video because unless I edit it a little bit, but I don't want to be a gossiper or a whiner. But the thing is, I'm. It appears that I'm getting more and more sensitive over time, and in this sudden age of political correctness, this sudden age of diversity, this negative diversity, this sudden age of like violent ridicule and judgment, this sudden age of prejudice, basically against the white guy. Um, I'm starting to become, sensitive. Like they claim that they're so sensitive. I'm getting kind of sensitive, but more on an empathic way. not critical, like a criticism way. It's just that I'm noticing things that I guess I can relate to, like Al getting shut down all the time. He's not my dad, he's my stepdad. Okay, but I see other family members do this to him, and it triggers my own PTSD, if you will. And I never had a PTSD until the last few years, and I never had an occasion to be offended until the last couple of years. So it's like I went ever since I went back to school and started learning psychology and mental health. Um, a white guy, was offended um, by some words that I said, but it was all right for him to basically do the same thing to me. And I said, well, I've never been offended in my life, but I guess based upon what you say I said that offended you, I should be offended because you did the same thing to me before I said it to you. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? He's one of them fucking liberal leftist snowflakes. And I meet so many of them today, and they're white guys, white girls. And where were these people, you know, a decade ago? When all this started happening was during I hate to say it, the Obama administration. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Really, it's a conspiracy analyst. I can just see these things. I guess I'm the only one. But anyway, I'm ranting because I never get to talk. So I'll just get off that subject, except that I'm getting more of a. I also learned, not only did I learn about PTSD, me having that, not only have I learned that, hey, I can be offended too, not only have I learned that I have to watch every fucking thing I say, really think hard before I speak, but I hardly ever speak. Um, I'm too busy thinking about what I'm going to say next, and I never get to say anything next anyway. And I just see so many people, in the same boat, and I'm sensitive to that. And so I also learned a new term besides those, empath. And that does not mean empathy. It means being highly sensitive. I am now so that's what I mean by sensitive. Uh, I'm more of a highly sensitive person. Always have been. I just don't let on to it. It served me well. There's pros and cons. Um, I've always been able to tell the moods of people. If they have a negative energy, positive energy, that kind of thing. When they walk into a room, usually if I can tell a negative energy, it's because they got a negative energy in general, but it might be targeted right to me, so their little brainwaves are coming right to me. But I mean, I've had, I don't know, 3 or 4, typically they're women, come to me and say, "Are you an empath?" Why do you ask that? I don't even know what an empath is. And then they explain it to me, because they're an empath and they're defining what it is. And I go, yeah, that's me. Ah, good, because we could read, we could tell, we could sense. And I go, yeah, well, me too. So I can't really tell people this because then they look at me like, what the fuck? I can't even say fuck. They can say fuck. These leftists and third party people I'm talking about can say fuck, but I can't say. That's being insensitive. But which is really funny because I am very sensitive. If I knew I was hurting somebody's feelings, I'd feel terrible. But like I felt I can't see very well, even with these freaking glasses on. Okay, even right now with this video, there's glare with the glasses. There's glare on the phone screen here, and the camera screen, if you will. And there's shade and there's sun, and it's just I can't see up to the right, can't see down to the left, whatever. And I was just like sitting here yesterday, and I just got this sense of like somebody in trouble, and they're freaking out. So I like, Rebecca, there's nobody around, empty backyard, just me and my dog. I turn around and I see something. I can't tell what it is, but it's just flittering around this little butterfly. I mean, I had to figure out it was a butterfly. I thought it was a leaf because it was under a chair. And it's kind of like in midair, under the chair, this leaf is spinning around in the wind. But I was sensing there's something going on. What is it? Something tragic. I'm looking. And like 10 feet above it, there's a butterfly. And I'm thinking a few minutes earlier, there was two butterflies, mating. And now there's one butterfly, like, won't go away 10 feet above that chair. So, what the fuck? I go over to the chair, and that is not a leaf spinning in the wind. This is a fucking butterfly freaking out. He's stuck in a spider web. I go, oh no, what do we do? What do we do? I don't even like to kill a black widow. So it's like, okay, I'm going to try, and I got him out of the web. Well, I got him free, but now he's like worn out, and his wings are pretty much devastated. And he was afraid of me. There's still spider web like on his wings. This is something you do. You try to free a bird from a net. But I pulled off some of the spider web, did the best I could, but he wouldn't really let me. And then he was landing on hot areas like cement and sidewalk and dirt and all that. I got to get him into a bush. And he finally did. He finally just barely made it up to a real leaf on a real tree. And so my heart was just like bleeding for this poor thing. And then I went over to the chair and looked underneath it, and sure enough, I didn't see a spider at first. But I started cleaning all the spider webs so this doesn't happen again, hopefully. And just out of the blue, this big fucking black widow. And I didn't want to kill it. I swear I did not want to kill it. But here comes Buddy, and I'm thinking, now Buddy's nose is getting there, 1 inch away, and I'm thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I felt that I needed to kill it, and I did, and I obviously still feel guilty about it. But if somebody broke into my house and was threatening my son or my dog, as much as I would never, ever, ever want to kill somebody, I'd fucking blow their brains out. Maybe not. Maybe I'd shoot them in the chest. A little more clean. But either way, I would defend. I would defend till the death my family or friends, or whoever I felt like defending. But and then feel bad afterwards. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But this is still my backyard. I'll always say that because I never know when the next shoe will drop, when the next hammer will come down. I'm stressed out every single day, almost 24 hours a day, of like what's gonna happen next in my little life, my insignificant loser life. What will make my life a little worse? First thought in the morning, last thought at night, and then sporadically during the day. Yeah, that's a whole nother revelation. So anyway, I'm trying to come up with some video topics. This is just a test. And I've done a few of these in the past where they're more journal related that maybe I can find or dig up because I'm highly unorganized, even in my little computer. But, one thing I have learned is to try to relax, try not to take things so seriously. I know from all my especially my internships. I had three of them. That maybe this mental health industry isn't quite for me, as far as you know, helping people that are in addiction recovery, drug and alcohol. Um, but what I learned, not from the teachers and not from employees, if you will, but from the actual addicts that I talk with, is that expectations is a really big problem. And expectations, having expectations of people you're close to, is a really big problem. In that a lot of these people that I talked with, their biggest issues in life at that moment was the lack of support from so-called loved ones, mom, dad, siblings, you know, wives, husbands, so on. And I can understand lack of support because after a while you get tired of the person's addiction. But nevertheless, I think the point I'm trying to make is that relationships are key. And the connection with other people that are sincere and loving is key and supportive. And when you have expectations of others, it leads to resentment. And that was said by one of these little ladies in a group meeting I was in, and it was just that's profound. This little girl was like maybe 20, probably 18, and I had the privilege, I guess, to hear her story, and her story was pretty graphic and very, very devastating and depressing. And she's the one that made that remark, and I haven't forgotten it. And we all have a frickin' story from the day we're born till now, today. And my story, I've always just shoved it inside. That's the manly thing to do, I suppose. But I would love to share. And the more um, my story is more like the never ending story. That's the problem. It doesn't like come to an end and then I can look back and say, well, this is what happened to me. It's still fucking happening to me. So my story hasn't ended. It's still continuing. So like if I was writing a book, I've often thought of like every decade of my life um, is like a separate life. It'd be like a separate chapter, if you will. And I'm not done writing my book. Well, I'm not dead, but it's amazing the effect that significant loved ones have on a person's life. Mine has been negative, unfortunately. Um, Other people that I see, which it's hard to tell, from the outside looking in, but people put on a good show. Um, Other people look like life is great. I got a great wife. I got a great husband. I got great parents. I got great kids. I got great friends. I got a great job. Everything's great. I like, where did I go wrong? I always thought I was a pretty good guy. How come, what's going on with this karma shit? Oh, but so I try to live without expectations now that I'm older. I try to live without judging, and I try to live without making my sarcastic, what I think is humorous comebacks and rhetoric. And even if I know I'm right, I try to take, I think it was Wayne Dyer's advice, be kind. Instead of trying to be right, try to be kind. I just let these people rant and rave. But sometimes I can't hold back. If they ask, well, game on. But I do keep up to date on things, to a degree, even though I don't watch the news and stay away from um, mainstream media. Somehow I tend to keep up with current events and have my views on it, which seem to be conflicting with the immoral majority. But really, at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter for me. It might matter for my son, my grandson, but I don't have a grandson. Maybe never will. So it's like all the things that are changing and all the things that are today, like even in my own personal life, what does it matter? I mean, especially if we're all just spiritual beings having a human experience, what does it really fucking matter? We're here, we experience, and we move on. This is like, this is like a vacation. This is like going to school or something, off to college, and then you're done, you graduate and move on. Get a real job, you know. But I don't know. Hopefully, I'll figure out something that's not too strenuous to do on the internet, like YouTube. Put more of these videos on there and call it something. I don't know what to call it, but brand myself and sell T-shirts, like Pink Floyd backwards. So I can go on for hours, but nobody wants to listen to it. Right, right on, baby.